We have endured the breaking of the world, and must now face the Destroyer and end his cycle of destruction. But soon, we will face a new chapter.
Greetings and salutations, everyone. Well, it's only a short time between now and BlizzCon, where we'll finally be hearing what comes next after Dragonflight. So in today's video, I'm going to go right ahead and go over what I hope we get for the next expansion. One thing that I've recognized of late is the lack of focus on the Horde, Alliance, and basically just the core races that we play as lately. In Shadowlands, there was a severe focus on the Afterlife and the Covenants, and in Dragonflight it's of course been focusing more on the Dragonflights and their own turmoils, to the point where it's outright addressed to not take their faction war or faction problems to the Isles even remotely. Understandably, we did get quite the focus on the races and factions of the Horde and Alliance within Battle for Azeroth and prior, but I think there's been such a lack of focus on all three that it's been quite noticeable. Enough, in my opinion, to hold some contention in current day. The Heritage questlines have been a nice means of returning to those familiar days, but I think it's high time we return to them now. This isn't me saying that it needs to be a faction war plot either, simply we need stories that harken back and focus on the Horde, Alliance, and the races that exist within their ranks. Too much focus on what is new and not what is old and beloved, and believe me when I say there's a lot that can be done with all of them. Perhaps even have something of the sort of racial holes as a mirror to class holes, with the idea to focus on locations, characters, capitals, and so on of their races of Warcraft. I just think that we've spent far too long and far away from some of the core pillars of Warcraft, and it's long overdue to get them back. I for one do not think the Horde and Alliance should ever face erasure from Warcraft. Recently, the various races of Azeroth and beyond received some major updates to their looks, whether that be war paint, new skin colors, jewelry, or beyond. We should certainly start getting more of that for every race. In Battle for Azeroth, we gathered various allies and new races to join our banners. More of that. In Shadowlands, we, as I said, got more updates and customizations to various core races. More of that. Body types, hairstyles, eye colors, skin colors, prosthetics, other subraces, the list goes on as to what we could get or receive, and this could be a great way to bring in the likes of the Broken Draenei, Mok'Nathal, Tonka, Forest Trolls, etc., you name it. But we definitely just need to start seeing more of it in some shape or form to every race that is currently playable, or I guess in this case, not playable. One thing that's always been on people's minds, at least from what I've seen in the community, is player housing. While I don't anticipate us getting some form of housing yet, it would always be awesome to finally have a place for our character to call home outside of inns or garrisons. Particularly, I think it would be outstanding if we were allowed to plant that house anywhere in Azeroth or beyond. A specified zone or region like Nagran, Storm Peaks, or the Jade Forest. Just listing my personal favorites. That we can dress up and move around to our liking with various fluff inside. Alternatively to a house, I would love for them to test the waters with a ship of our own to customize and sail the various seas with. Since the days of us receiving our very own shipyard on Draenor, I've been enamored with this idea of us getting our own ship that we structure, level up, and customize with our very own crew to sail at our side. Both would be a great way to bring some level of customizable home that's been missing in Warcraft, and I think it would just get people excited for such a thing. In terms of threats of what I would personally like to see, heavily it's been foreshadowed and hinted at that Erudicron has yet to be dealt with and won't be acting alone, nor acting until Azeroth herself is corrupted by the old gods, or specifically Xal'Atath, which she would somehow bring the Titan Pantheon back for him to face after corrupting Azeroth in some shape or form. And of course Xal'Atath, who was freed from the Blade of the Black Empire by Azoth, has been MIA ever since. Additionally to Xal'Atath and Erudicron, who've seemingly all escaped into void portals, Queen Azshara, the leader of the Naga, who's been an influence on Azeroth, is basically boundless, is also somebody whom I think we could see again by both of their sides. All three are quite noteworthy and already fan favorites. All three have a connection to the Void, all three have their own reasons to take Azeroth's World Soul for themselves, and all three would work perfectly together as the next stage of antagonists for whatever comes next. Lastly, and this is a big one, a revamp to the world of Azeroth that we know. Deathwing's Great Cataclysm was over 13 years ago, and it set the stage of an entirely different world and landscape on both Kalimdor and the Eastern Kingdoms. And that's been showing its age ever since, both in terms of lore, graphics, and jokes. So I think it's certainly time that we see the world catch up with the old world itself. We should see how many of the places of old that are all around the globe have been updated since the flames of the Cataclysm have died down. There's plenty of things that can work on with such an idea already, and I can't stress on how pleasing it would be to go back to places of old with a new coat of paint, and a new narrative attached to it. It's a great way to bring back fan favorite characters and make places of old incredibly relevant and just pop. Now, this is a tremendous task to ask for, and I honestly don't anticipate it exactly to happen for 11.0 either. So I think a good way to meet this halfway is to revamp all of the starter zones and capitals first. This would make a tremendous sense given how those are now showing their age the most right now, and it would make sense narratively as so many of those places have already received some noteworthy changes. Like the Forsaken people retaking back Lordaeron after it was drenched in the Plague and nearly overtaken by the Scarlet Crusade. The gnomes from Nomergon have certainly taken back their home and now only need to restore it. The orcs recently got an oasis for the landscape of Durotar, and several of their clans coming back from Outland to Azeroth. Add the restoration of Gilneas, Silvermoon, Kazan, etc., and it just works. Plus, the Night Elves are getting a new home with a Midrasil somewhere. There's so much that can be detailed and done by acting on capitals and zones that we all began in, and as I said earlier, it could tie in everything together with some kind of racial haul with it maybe. Again, a severe focus on the races of old and the places of old would just be grand. I don't think I've seen something so unanimously agreed upon that the world of Azeroth, specifically the old world, needs some love and attention, and I think I'd have to agree with everyone here. At least give us a glimmer of what is to come with our cities and starter zones. Blizzard, I beg, please. But those are ultimately what I'm hoping for in whatever comes next. Will I get at least one of them? Maybe. But what is it that you are all looking for and what's next? Let me know down below. Feel free to like, comment, share, and subscribe to this video. You can also join us on our Discord where we talk about all sorts of stuff and things. And if you like me enough, you can support me on my Patreon, like these amazing folks here. Goes a long way to make these kinds of videos possible. But until next time, my friends, I'll be seeing you all at BlizzCon.